Hey, what's up? Professor Wergles here. We just finished lecture number 7. We're moving into lecture number 8. Before we do, make sure you save all your files in the previous lecture. Make sure that you save all your changes. I don't want you to lose any of your work. We're going to move on to lecture number 8, HTML forms. I have some slides and some code. We're first going to start out with the slides, talk about some concepts, and then we'll open up the code. Opening up the slides, we're going to start from the beginning. Okay, we're going to be talking about HTML forms today. Now, HTML forms are everywhere. You've seen them. If I go to Facebook and I'm logging in, that's going to be a form. You'll see here maybe they need to enter in your first name or last name, username and password. Anything that the user is going to type in to a web page most likely is going to be in a form, or it's a form element. Now, the HTML form element defines a form that is used to collect the user's input. So I have an HTML form keyword there. So I have a form start tag, a form close tag, and all the form elements are in between. Now, the HTML form contains form elements. There are many different types of form elements like input elements, text boxes, check boxes, radio buttons, submit buttons, and a bunch of different others. We're going to talk about a few, and we're going to look at those examples here soon in the code. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about is the input element. The input element is the most important form element. It can be displayed in several ways depending on the type attribute. Now, if the type attribute is omitted on an input element, the default type is going to be text. You'll see the little yellow there. Most likely that's going to be on a quiz or a test question. I'm going to have an input element there. I'm going to omit the type. I'm going to ask you what type is it going to be. You'll want to know the default type for an input element is going to be text. Here's some other examples. I have input type text. That's the default. I have input type radio. It's going to define a radio button for selecting one of many choices. And we also have type submit. It's going to be submit button for submitting the form. And we're going to learn a lot of other input types as we go along. Now, the next one we're going to talk about is input type text. Input type text is going to define a one-line input field for text input. You're going to want to note that the form itself is not visible. You'll see here in this example, I have first name, last name. You don't see the form around these elements. The other thing you're going to want to note is the default width for a text field is 20 pixels. So if I put input types text, you'll see 20 pixels in length here. That doesn't mean you can only type 20 pixels. What that's saying is you're only going to be able to see 20 pixels at a time. So let's go to the forms.html, and we'll take a look at these examples in the code. Stick with Professor Wergles as we open up this code.